What's up, guys? It's Drac. Today we got a really important question for you, which is, would you spend $800 on a Nerf blaster? Now, whether the answer is yes or no, we've got to thank my friend Enoch for facilitating this thing's delivery over to the States, but this is a roughly $800 fully CNC'd. It's a combination of machined Delrin, machined aluminum. The side plates are completely aluminum anodized. It's got this gorgeous red and gray kind of color scheme because of that, the red being anodized aluminum, the gray being the Delrin, and you wind up with something that's just very sharp, very durable, very well fit and finished together. So effectively, it assembles more like a modern firearm than necessarily a toy blaster. You put all of the components in place. The grip is an isolated thing. You can actually see under here that the trigger connection is all one large metal trigger that hits the catch, which is trapped inside this stock over here. You'll know that there is no pump grip. The Balance 1.0 had a kind of a pump grip option. This is the Balance 2.0. You can actually see that lasered into the Delrin there. It says Balance 2. And then on this side, at first I was like, no way, I got serial number 1. And then I realized that they're not serialized. It's just a limited edition. There will only be 100 of these made, and this one announces that by saying that it is one of 100. There were variable barrel lengths in this, variable springs. There was a lot of really cool stuff. I've got an extra catch, which is also machined Delrin. I have 2 separate barrel lengths and then 2 separate scars, actually, because that's what Swin is known for, is incredibly accurate barrels and scar combos. So whereas the Saber M20 was like, for $800, you could have the hardest hitting, poor Delrin, blah, 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 blah. This one's focus is pretty explicitly on accuracy and the comfort with which you could deliver that accuracy downrange. The only part that I could see that was not completely machined was this. It's just funky because the plunger is clearly kind of wiffled, and then it's got a, aluminum catch in it. So it's a 2-part assembly for its guide rod and then the thing that holds it back. But the part about it that I just found fascinating was, in addition to the plunger pad, this relatively complicated piece was a SLS. So Swin's got access to some pretty incredibly high-tech machining in terms of both the machining and then the additive and the reductive. I mean, his manufacturing is absolutely top. And there's no way for me to convey this on camera other than to just tell you that, like, we're so far beyond the realm of what most people would consider spending on a Nerf blaster toy that we just have to take it at face value. It's obscenely expensive. That said, the finish, fantastic. The quality, fantastic. The overall kind of feel that you get from it, very reminiscent of the M20. Everything is ball bearinged, everything is greased, everything fits perfectly. And as such, you wind up with a very heavy, very durable, almost Veblen good within the space. You wind up with something that really feels like you spent that amount of money on it. And that's, at the end of the day, if you're getting similar performance where you could do 90% of what this does with a Nerf long shot for $40, with a few different modifications and tweaks, you could throw an extra $100 at it and get pretty close. You're paying for that level of precision, fit, and finish, and something that just really feels nice like this. And frankly, as someone who really appreciates the more expensive blasters in the hobby, I'm stoked that I get to share it with you, and I actually can't wait to play with it. Now, I do have one complaint about it, and I'll get that out of the way very quickly. The blaster is Talon compatible, and there's no finer example of how important these machine tolerances are and how tight they are than to show you that this is the Swin Talon magazine. I think it holds about 9 darts. It's honestly not important. It's a little shorter, but more sniper status than your regular magazine, and it's also incredibly sturdy. If you look at how thick the aluminum extrusion is that gets this guy together, it's much, much more durable than your average Talon mag. And because of that, when you prime this thing, which again, it's all on a ball bearing system and I've greased the heck out of it, it's a very heavy spring, but it feels very comfortable. That's a 1-finger prime. If you look at the priming bar on there, I mean, there's not a lot to grip onto. I probably couldn't do it with my pinky because I did not use the ultra lightweight spring, but I can definitely prime it with one hand. But what I want to get at is that you've got this metal magazine release down here. You go ahead and you put a Talon in, and it's great, right? Chambers very cleanly, very in terms of its breech system, which is a big part of what you're paying for when everything has been machined. And then you fire it and you get that very satisfying, like, you know that it's been tuned, the spring, the barrel, and the scar all together. The issue is that you go to prime again and you go to click in and you're not catching a dart. And the reason you don't get another dart is if we pretend that my pointer finger is the pusher and we put it in there and we fire that first dart, and then we apply the same amount of squeeze that the tolerances on this magwell do, and then we come back and forward, there's no dart in the way. So you really need a little bit of a release on there, relief to that pressure. Now, that said, if you're using the magazine that comes with the blaster, green means go. It actually has an incredibly satisfying click in there, and it even comes close to dropping with gravity. You also get that very fine logo. Raw aluminum was an interesting choice for the magazines, given that everything else is anodized and polished, but we could fire through very comfortably. And so the ability to move through this many, and in all honesty, with a blaster this accurate, this good at long range shooting comfortably, you really don't need to be pumping through a Talon magazine, flipping it out, and then throwing in another 15 rounds. It's not really designed that way. This would be your backfield player in a Foam Pro Tour type situation. You would have this guy spawn in, stay back, find the closest piece of cover, and then pick at people from a distance. It's actually the closest thing that I've seen in terms of modern kind of Nerf technology to an actual factual sniper. Now, we all know that, you know, anybody or anything claiming to be a Nerf sniper is frankly ridiculous. But insofar as Nerf blasters can be accurate and you can really limit a bunch of the factors down to make them as consistent as you possibly can, this feels like it's pretty close. I mean, this is an awesome, low profile, very heavy kind of DMR style thing. And I only say that because it can use your traditional run and gun magazines in a pinch. But the precision of all the parts, the fit and finish is absolutely flawless. Let's take it outside. Let's put some over the chronograph. And then more importantly, let's throw our zip target really far back and see how close we can get. All right, guys, so we're out here with the Swin Balance 2. The light really makes the anodizing look great. The lack of orange tip is all the more apparent as well. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna click on the chronograph, prime. I think the magazine's over here. Interestingly enough, the Swin mag is omnidirectional. You can go ahead and throw that in. Should be clear for launch. I'll talk more about it, I guess, when we get to the range part of this, but I do want to mention it so it's not in my back pocket. This is my Sig Romeo. It's a pretty sweet, like, red dot. It's not a magnifier. It's just a very nice solar-powered red dot. I like using it a lot. I recently got an EOTech, hashtag thanks EOTech, and I'm looking forward to trying that out. But I've been using the Romeo for a long time. And it doesn't fit because the Romeo is spec'd for real pick tinny, which has a space between of 5.25 is the mil spec for pick tinny. And this rail is 5.1. Now it's consistently 5.1, so it was machined correctly. It's just a minor mathematic error. I would love to, and I might just print an insert since this is one piece. It just won't be machined aluminum, but I would like a pick rail up top that I could put an actual optic on, particularly one like the Romeo with a riser because of how narrow the blaster is in and of itself, just because I think that that'll make shooting at targets at a distance more comfortable. I'm a pretty good instinctive marksman. If you do enough archery, you get pretty decent at that, and Nerf is no different. However, if ever there was a blaster that needed an optics, particularly a sweet sniper status optic, it would be this one, and it won't fit, which is lame, but 250 is no joke. Let's see how consistent we are. 238, 234, 240. So pretty consistent within that vein. Let's go ahead and do some target shooting downrange. I think I've got the box right at about 65, 70 feet. And like I said, with no glass, we'll just give it our best. Man, the way that they whistle through the air is pretty sweet, but we did not connect. I think I'm not connecting specifically because I'm going over. There we go. All right, so we're kind of dialed in now. We'll see. Again, the box is significantly smaller than a, human target in 5v5. Okay, so we definitely clipped the piece that holds the box, I suppose. I want to see how many shots I have left. It looks like 4. This actually holds a staggering amount more ammo than I thought it did. And part of that's because as opposed to Talon's, the follower is shorter, which means it goes deeper into this. Let's come forward. And I would definitely love a pump action version of this. I think it would feel more natural for me. Even if I couldn't get a pump action version, some way to have like a foregrip here so I'm not, you know, crisscrossing the balance. But man, feels great to fire actually. I really do. I do want to get some glass on it. I think that that'll dial in a lot of the human error here. And I guess I'd love to get an extra magazine for it so that I could maybe use it in a 5v5. I don't normally play backfield. I'm a very forward player on a 5v5 team, but with something this slick, I think that I'd give it a shot. All right, so while we reload our one and only magazine here, I will mention that at $800, the thing is obscenely expensive, and it's gonna really come down to, you know, what you want to do with it and whether or not that's valuable to you. It is a very comfortable shooting experience. I mean, it definitely, you know, you feel the ball bearings, you can tell that everything's well machined, but you don't want to sound like a broken record. I mean, for $800, it should have all of those things. It should be incredibly nice. And luckily, it is. So I'm comfortable saying that if you want that level of precision, that level of polish, this is certainly something that you could entertain. Now, with, you know, only 100 of them in existence, and I think different colors for the anodized plates, if that is something that you're actually hungry for, you need to keep in mind that the market for high-end blasters in Singapore and China is far more demanding. So I imagine that there's less of these than 100 to be had, and you should just kind of keep that in mind. I wouldn't wait too terribly long to pick one up. If it's anything like Explorer blasters, by the time you've saved up enough for one, they might be gone. No buyer's remorse or anything like that. I imagine that Swin will keep innovating and making more cool stuff, but the lag time between the Balance 1 and the Balance 2 was over a year. So supply chain issues aside, I mean, this is definitely available now and very, very slick. I keep firing to the right, and I really think that an optic would dial in that error. And I think it's because I'm right eye dominant. Yeah, as soon as I start compensating for it, we've hit each time. All right, that's it. I mean, in terms of accuracy, truly a remarkably accurate blaster. In terms of comfort, very comfortable. In terms of dollars, it's a lot of dollars. But thank you guys for watching. Answer my question in the comment section down below. Let me know, would you pay $800 for a blaster? And if you were gonna pay $800 for a blaster, would this be it? Because there are other options out there at that price point, but this one is certainly very nice. Thank you guys so very much for watching. Love to get your opinions in the comment section down below. Probably would only be able to travel with this one in a checked bag, if you know what I mean. But your kind comments do go a long way. They help me kind of evaluate stuff like this and get more of a community opinion, as my opinion is heavily, heavily biased by just, you know, getting to play with everything and really being as invested in this hobby as I am. After all, someone who's willing to shuck out thousands of dollars for event venues and insurance is probably willing to shuck out $8 bills to play backfield every once in a while. So thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said, kind comment, subscription, notification bell. Make sure that you're always up to date on whatever the latest and greatest in novel and new Nerf tech is. And I'll see you guys at the Foam Pro Tour, because that's definitely where something like this belongs. All right, guys, so I want to issue kind of a correction along with an explanation. The Balance Mag is more like a katana, and the explanation is that I haven't seen a katana in so long because Talon mags are just strictly superior, and at this point, Jet is functionally out of business. So I want to point out that the geometry of those is much better. It's actually incredible that it holds the Talons, I guess, because of how tight the mag well is on them. So it's not an issue that it doesn't shoot Talons. That's not a fair kind of counterpoint so much as it's katana geometry, and I think that it'll do a fine job with that. So I dug out of my archives an actual katana. This is a genuine Jet katana from back when I was in Singapore, and a DZP mag, one of the 12 rounders, because they tend to have a more katana-like geometry. So we'll start with a genuine one and see how that works. Also, I think it'd be really cool to give you a shot of the scar barrel. Swin is definitely known for accuracy, and man, looks pretty cool. But let's take that out. Let's throw this in here. Also Omni. And also, I mean, I don't know. That's a very warbly. It's not happening. Nope. Nope, nope. And the follower actually won't go into the mag well. So we'll ditch the genuine katana, we'll take the DZP mag, and it's not any better. So it's definitely, it's a Talon-sized katana. It's I don't know what to tell you. It's a proprietary magazine that's half of each. It's a Talon-sized katana geometry. It's pretty funky. It almost, and the lips are so heavy that you almost get like pseudo closed bore kind of access through it. So it's definitely, you don't want to be using this in most other blasters. It's sort of mated to the system. That said, both Chicken and Bobo are in the studio today. They look pretty cool. And I figured I'd give you guys a second since you both put a few darts through it. I guess what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts?
I like the weight.
Yeah.
It's nice and heavy.
Feels like a premium product.
You could throw this against the wall and not have to worry about it.
I don't know if you'd want to because it's so nice.
You
could. The ability.
Just, javelin this into whatever you want. And
the true last shot is the one you send.
It looks nice. There's no burrs to cut your hand on.
Has that been an issue for you in the past?
No, but it could be.
Okay.
With other cheaper brands.
All right, Chicken, what do you got? What do you think of it?
All right, so.
Oh, it shoots really good too. It's very accurate.
That's
super
true.
accurate.
Yeah, they were. Boba went 3 for 3.
As Boba mentioned, the weight is nice. I particularly enjoy blasters that have a very slim feel to it, and slim profile, if you will.
It's about as thin as a Lynx.
Pretty much, which is what I like about it. I want to put an air blaster right here because.
Ooh, an undermount. Yeah.
I want to put an undermount. This stuff it takes getting used to.
Pump grip it.
You could.
Needs a pump grip.
Pump grip would be tight.
I think that's the most obvious thing people would want. As opposed to a bolt action, I think this is super slim.
And the 1.0 had a pump, which was, I think that there's room to do it too, which is the cool part. What do you? There's nothing in there, but like the trust you have that the magazine is empty. Kids, don't do this at home.
Do this at home, kids.
All right, roll the outro.